The Mount Farm World Tour is back again, and this time we're going to be covering the mounts that can be found within Argus. If you're not familiar with this series, we basically go from continent to continent, or in some cases world to world, covering all the various mounts that can be found within that area. Now there will be a link to a playlist in the description below that will take you to the old episodes if you want to pick up yourselves a ton of mounts. So in this video we will be covering the mounts in Argus, but I did quickly want to run through how to get to Argus as it is quite confusing for a newer player. So first of all, you'll need to be the minimum level requirement for the content, which is currently level 110 plus. That will change in Shadowlands though, so do keep that in mind. Next up, you'll need to unlock the Legion World Quests, which we can do by speaking to Khadgar in the Violet Citadel in Dalaran. You'll get a quest called Uniting the Isles, you'll pick that up, and you'll instantly be able to hand that in. Next up, you'll go meet Khadgar again on the Crassus Landing, and if you meet him there in the same Dalaran, he should have a quest for you called Armies of Legionfall. You'll pick that up and you'll have to go through a scenario unless you've done it before, then you can skip that. Once you're done with that, you'll hand that in, and then you'll be able to head back to Dalaran, and in Violet Citadel once more, Khadgar will have a quest called the Hand of Fate, and this is the intro quest to get to Argus, so just follow through that chain, and you'll eventually be in Argus. So now that we're at Argus, we can start talking about the mounts, and if you don't remember how to get back to Argus, there is a teleporter on Crassus Landing. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the factions within Argus. There's two factions, and they both provide mounts at Exalted. The first one up is the Army of the Light. When you get them to Exalted, you'll be able to purchase the Light Forge Warframe, which will cost you around 500k, so it's quite pricey, but it is quite a nice mount as well. So if you're a bit more rich, you can end up buying that one. The other faction is going to be the Argusian Reach, which when you reach Exalted with these guys, you'll be able to purchase 6 different Runestrider mounts for about 8,000 gold each, so pretty affordable on those ones at least. In terms of getting to Exalted with these two factions, there's going to be a ton of different methods. The first is going to be story quests, so picking up those yellow quests that pop up and going through them. These are important for a few reasons, but one of them is reputation, so definitely recommend getting those done. Next up is world quests. There'll be a ton of world quests around Argus on all the 3 different kind of subzones. Make sure you're doing those. The kill quests are the most important because they'll generally give rep for both factions at once. There'll also be emissaries for both of the factions, so make sure you're doing those when they pop up. There'll be 2 weekly quests for you to do. Those will give about 1,000 rep each, so definitely make sure you're doing those as well. There'll also be a Demon's Soulstone, which can drop from the mobs and rares within Argus. Very, very low drop chance though, but you can use that for an additional 1,000 rep. And then finally, there will be reputation tokens that you can get from your Order Hall missions. There'll also be some that can come from world quests and stuff too. But these will be rep tokens that you can, use and get yourself a little bit of extra rep too. Once you are exalted with the Army of the Light, there will also be a Paragon mount for this faction, or in fact 3 Paragon mounts. They're all Fel Crushers of some varied degree, and they can all come at once. You could get all 3 in one Paragon cache, or you can get one at a time. But those are pretty nice mounts, so do make sure you're continuing to get that Army of the Light rep even after you hit Exalted. There is no Paragon mount for the Argusian Reach though, so do keep that in mind. The first zone we're going to take a look at is Cocoon, and the first mount up is going to be the Bleak Hoof Ruinstrider. Now this mount comes from an achievement to kill trivial demons within Argus, and it's part 3 of this kind of achievement chain that we're interested in, which is called Anchu Manabuns, and that's to kill 2,000 trivial demons. So you just keep killing demons and you'll go through the different stages of this achievement series. The best place to get this done is pretty much the second you land in Cocoon. There'll be an area called Darkfall Ridge, and you'll notice these 2 portals and demons pretty much endlessly come out of them, and thankfully these count towards the achievement currently. So you can just park yourself in front of these and just kill the mobs over and over again, and at 120 character you get about 500-600 demons killed in about 15 to 20 minutes. So you can get this achievement done within an hour or 2. Now if this area ends up being crowded, which it can happen, then the next best place apparently is over in Antoran Waste, which we'll look at later. And the area is called the Felfire Armory. Apparently the mobs here spawn really quickly, although I've never tested this place myself, but just kill demons until you get your 2,000 done, and you'll be awarded the mount in the mail, I believe. The next mounts we're going to talk about come from an item called the Fel Spotted Egg, and this egg has 3 different drop locations, and within the egg you can get one of 4 mounts, the first one being the Felglow Mana Ray, the second being the Scintillating Mana Ray, the third being the Darkspawn Mana Ray, and the final being the Vibrant Mana Ray. So these eggs aren't unique, you can have as many as you can in your bags at once, and after 5 days it'll hatch, and when you open it, it'll hatch into one of 7 things. It'll be the 4 mounts, it'll be 2 pets, and a junk item. It's going to be RNG which one you end up getting, but as far as I am aware, you cannot get duplicates of the same mount. So if you do get the mount, learn it, then you won't be able to get that mount again. It'll just limit the pool of things available. So the first source for one of these Fel Spotted Eggs is in the northeast of Cocoon from a rare called Naroa. These rares within Argus are all killable once per day per character, so this will apply to the ones we talk about later on as well. And the way the rares work in Argus is they're on a 4-hour rotation. So a rare could be up for 4 hours, and then after that period ends, a new set of rotation of rares can come in. I believe it could be a duplicate of the same rare that's on the next set of rotation, but generally it's not. The only exception to this is if the rare is a part of a world quest, and in those cases that rare will remain for the full duration of that world quest. So make sure you are frequently checking for Naroa every few hours or so, and when it is up, you kill it and you'll have around a 30% chance of getting yourself a Fel Spotted Egg. As I did mention earlier, these aren't unique, so you can have multiple in your bag at once and they'll all kind of go on their own timer and count down that 5 days. The next zone we're going to take a look at is called Makari, and this one unlocks a bit further into the main story questline in Argus, so do make sure you're continuing to do that, otherwise you just won't be able to access Makari. The first mount up we're going to take a look at is actually the other source for the Fel Spotted Egg, which is Sabble, and you'll find this kind of mob in the middle-ish, right near the water source. It'll spawn there once again following the rare rules that we talked about earlier. The next mount up for us to talk about is going to be the Maddened Chaos Runner, and this is going to be a drop from the rare spawn Wrangler Kravos. This rare spawn follows the normal rules we were talking about earlier, so do make sure you are checking back every few hours or so to see if it is up. And this rare is going to drop the mount at around a 4% drop chance, and you'll find this guy just a bit north of the Triumvirate's end, so head up there and you'll find him right there. The next mount up is going to be another one from a rare spawn, which is going to move most of the mounts in this video, and this one is the Lambent Manta Ray. You're going to find this drop from the rare called the Venom Tail Skyfin, which once again follows the normal rare rules, and this drop will be about a 3 to 4% drop chance. You'll find this guy spawn on the west side of the zone, which you'll be able to see now. So once again, just keep checking back for it frequently and try and get your kill on it. The final mount up in Makari is going to be the Acid Belcher, which once again is going to come from a rare spawn called Skreeg the Devourer, and you're going to find this guy way off north of the zone, and once again this mount will be on a 3 or 4% drop chance and follows the same rare rules that we talked about previously. The final zone up is going to be Antoran Wastes, and the first mount up we're going to look at here is called the Pond Nettle, and this is going to come from fishing in the various kind of greeny pools, and is going to be on about a 0.03% drop chance, so get ready to do a lot of fishing because this is probably going to take you quite some time. Now, the fishing skill doesn't seem to matter for this, but I couldn't confirm if you need Legion fishing level 1 or not. Probably not. I would grab Legion fishing level 1 just in case, but your skill with Legion fishing doesn't matter at all. And the reason we're doing Antoran Waste for this one, you can fish in any of the green pools found across the multiple zones, but the Hope's Landing area is the one that's more common, so you'll find some buddies there to fish if you're kind of bored and want to have a chit chat as well while you are fishing. The next thing to talk about is the final source for the Fel Spotted Eggs, which is going to be a rare called Varga in Antoran Wastes. And you'll find Varga just kind of west of Hope's Landing in the main lava area, big massive lava pool, you can't miss it. If you head down that, you'll find a cave there, and inside that cave can be where Varga spawns, once again giving you about a 30-40% chance of giving an egg. Now, one final thing to note about these eggs is you might see a mob called Kara the Pale listed as a potential drop. This used to be a drop for the eggs, and it's either been nerfed into oblivion to the point it's not worth killing, or the egg was completely removed from its loot table, so I wouldn't recommend trying to kill this mob, as it just seems like it's going to be a waste of your time. The next mount up to talk about is the Crimson Slavermore, and this is going to drop from the rare spawn called Blistermore, which you'll find kind of northwest of Hope's Landing. Once again, it'll follow the same rare rules the other ones did, and it's on around a 3 to 4% drop chance. The next mount up is going to be the Vile Fiend, which is going to drop from the rare spawn called Houndmaster Karax, and this guy will be a lot further north of the zone, and you'll find him in a cave on the lower section. So this bit's a little bit confusing, as up on the bridge above there will be a cave, Then down below there'll also be a cave, and it's the one below that you're after. So keep checking back, and he follows the same rare rules that the other rares do, and once again on around a 3 to 4% drop chance. The final of the rare spawn mounts is going to be called the Biletooth Gnasher, and unlike the rest, this actually has 2 different sources it can drop from, both rare spawns. But the first one is going to be called Puskilla, and that's going to be a rare in the cave above Houndmaster Kirak. So the one we were talking about a moment ago where it's above on the bridge, that's the one you want to go inside and look for Puskilla at the back of that one. The other spawn location for this is going to be from Vaxthul, and you'll find him more kind of off to the northwestish of the zone. And once again, be looking out for these 2 rares to be up and see if you can get yourself the drop. The final destination on our tour of Argus is going to be the Raid Antorus, and this gives a couple of things, but it's also worth noting that some of it will require Mythic difficulty, which isn't really soloable at the moment, but there are groups going for this raid consistently on Mythic, as there are quite a few sought after items, so I would recommend looking for a group in the group finder, and looking for one that's called like first 2, last 2, as those groups aim for the more like important bosses, the ones that are going to give the mounts, etc. And they normally go fairly quickly and smoothly, so definitely would recommend looking for those. So the first mount up is going to be the Antoran Charhound, which is going to drop from the boss, the second boss, the Fel Hounds of Sargeras. And this comes from all 4 difficulties, so LFR can drop it, normal can drop it, heroic can drop it, and mythic can drop it. So you can run that raid on all the different difficulties each week and give yourself a better chance at the mounts. To get into LFR of Antorus, you'll have to head over to Dalaran just outside the Violet Hold. There'll be an NPC that will allow you to queue up for the rarest LFRs. And kill that boss and you'll have around a 2% chance of getting the mount. The next mount up on the list is going to be one that's actually one of my favourites in the game, and that is the Shackled Azul. And this is going to have about a 1% drop chance from Mythic Argus, which is the last boss of Antorus. It only comes from Mythic, so do keep that in mind. You're not going to be able to get it on normal, heroic, or LFR. Only Mythic, so I would recommend using those groups I was talking about earlier, just to get yourself through the raid. It is on a low percent drop though, so you're going to want to do this on as many characters as possible per week to give yourself a better odds of getting the mount. The final mount to talk about is going to be the Antoran Gloomhound, and this is going to be the reward from completing the Glory of the Argus Raider. Now, most of these achievements are soloable currently, but there will be 2 that aren't soloable, and the last one, Stardust Crusaders, could need upwards of 8 players or more. So do keep that in mind. You're not going to be able to go through all of this solo, and you will need a decent sized raid to actually get all of them done. But once you do complete them all, you will be awarded with the Antoran Gloomhound. So that does bring us to an end of the Argus World Tour, and it will also mean this series is going on a hiatus until we're a few months deep into Shadowlands. I want to have Shadowlands out and stuff before I look to cover the BFA zones, so if there's any mounts you're missing from those zones, you can look forward to those videos, a few months down the line. Outside of that, look out for more videos coming soon, especially Shadowlands stuff. Thanks for watching guys, see ya!